there guys, this is Sam.
And Justin.
At the Survival Review. And it's October.
Oh yeah.
The best month of the year. And we're starting off our annual October horror reviews. And today we're going to be talking about a classic horror film from the 1950s, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yes.
Now this is a movie that I had never seen, Justin had. I haven't seen any of the movies in the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Well, it's not a series because they're all remakes.
Yes.
But I had never seen any of them, so it's going to be new territory for me talking about them. But having just watched this movie, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
It holds up incredibly well, aside from a few little things that we'll get into. But for the most part, this is just a really, really effective horror movie.
Yeah, very creepy.
It plays off of like the fear of the unknown
Yeah.
and like mistrust, which obviously in the 1950s, mistrust with, the Cold War and all that stuff obviously had its influence on a movie like this.
Yeah, there's a lot of obvious like undertones in this movie.
Very clearly.
With people changing.
Yes.
And, not really believing in the same thing and all that kind of stuff. It's really obvious in what they're hinting at.
It's allegorical, but it still works aside from that as a great horror movie as well.
Yeah, it works really well. Because this movie begins with this doctor coming back to his hometown of Santa Mira. And when he gets in, he keeps getting all these cases, basically, of people saying that like their loved ones are not who they once were.
How is he different?
That's just it. There is no difference you can actually see. He looks, sounds, acts, and remembers like Uncle Ira.
Then he is your Uncle Ira.
But he isn't. There's something missing.
A bunch of people who, right when he got back, were saying, oh, we really needed to see you, like, as quickly as possible. When he gets back to them, they're like, no, we're fine now.
Yeah, everything's back to normal.
I woke up this morning and everything was all right. You know how relieved I am.
Oh, yes, I do.
So everything's very fishy in the time.
Yeah.
And he a lot of the narration in this movie, because it's him narrating, feels kind of like a film noir detective movie sort of thing.
Yeah, and even in the way the movie's shot too. There's a lot of shots in like shadow and a lot of like stark like black and white. The black and white imagery is so well done in this movie. And like you said, it kind of feels like a noir kind of like mystery at first. Yeah, and they do talk to like the local psychiatrist who just thinks like, oh, there's just something going around.
Yeah.
He doesn't really think too much of it, but the doctor's like, you know what? There's something else going on here.
Yeah.
And then their friends come across this body in their like living room. It doesn't have any fingerprints, doesn't have any facial features.
It's like a blank slate.
Yes.
And this is where they start to sort of piece together that something very strange is happening. He puts together that, okay, I think that these people who are claiming they're family members or whatever aren't who they say they are right.
Yeah.
And that these people are being changed somehow.
Yeah, and basically as the movie progresses, you find out that it is in a way an alien invasion, basically.
It's basically exactly what you would think from the title of the movie.
Yeah.
The title almost kind of spoils it in a little bit, but not really. It works so well because you know that any of these people could be one of the things. I say the things because it kind of reminds me of The Thing.
Yeah, it does actually.
In that same sort of like, anybody could be it.
Yeah, because basically the aliens, they plant these pods, essentially, and then when you go to sleep, it takes over your body, and basically it looks exactly like you, and and kills your like normal self in the process.
Yes.
And it's just this like blank, emotionless person.
I love Becky. Tomorrow, will I feel the same?
There's no need for love.
And these aliens are just slowly taking over this town.
Yeah, it's not even slowly. Like they're rapidly like taking over.
Essentially, our main characters, they can't go to sleep.
Yes.
And there's also that extra added layer of just these people just on the run and they can't go to sleep. And it's done very well.
Yeah, and it's also the rapid growth of it is also one of the things that makes it so scary.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the movie, you don't really know who's these things and who aren't. But as the movie goes on, you realize this whole town.
Yeah.
there's nobody left.
No.
So they're pretty much on their own, and if somebody sees them, they're fucked.
Yeah, and they can't fall asleep either. So it's just this constant on the move.
Yes.
They have to get to the highway to find other people to try to explain to them, and if they fall asleep, they're screwed, and slowly their friends are being taken over and are trying to transform them.
Yeah. And any hope that they have, even the hope to get to the highway, is still kind of futile because you know that when they get there, who the hell's going to believe them?
Yeah.
It's just this hopeless effort to survive in like a situation where it's pretty hopeless.
Yeah, and this movie, it feels like an episode of The Twilight Zone.
Yeah, very much so.
Also in the way that, like, it's very subtle. It's not effects heavy at all. There's very little, if any, real effects in the movie.
Yeah, there's like one like body that gets hit with a pitchfork, and it's so like blink and you'll miss it that like it's hardly a thing.
Yeah, and I think that's what works in this movie's favor. And like when we get to the remake and stuff, we'll talk about how, like, you know, the special effects advanced, and they clearly take advantage of that in the remake. But this one doesn't have that. But it also works. It works very well.
It doesn't need it.
No, it really doesn't. You really care about the two main characters throughout the film.
Yeah, you want to see them get out of this town and away from everybody.
And it just gets kind of nerve-wracking because, like, everywhere they turn, everybody's just turned, you know? There is one major flaw with this movie, and it doesn't, like, I mean, it doesn't make it not great or anything, but it does kind of hinder it a little bit in that the studio at the time didn't like the downer ending of this movie, because this movie originally had a very downer ending, and it's great. It's a fantastic ending.
It would have been absolutely perfect to end it there.
Yeah.
But
because basically, I guess, spoiler, I mean, this movie's over 50 years old. I guess we can spoil it. And it's, well, surprisingly enough, what I didn't expect, especially for a movie from this era, the main girl actually dies.
Yeah.
Like, she can't take it much longer, and she ends up falling asleep. And it's such a heartbreaking moment, too, like when she does fall asleep and she actually turns.
I sort of was expecting it to happen just because of the unfortunate sort of bookend thing that they do with the movie. Because at the beginning of the movie, you see him like he's being taken into a mental hospital and he's explaining his thing, and she's nowhere to be seen.
Because the original ending had him alone, he makes it to the highway, and he's just in the middle of the road, just this iconic moment, just yelling like, "They're here! You're next!
You're next!
You're next!" And no one's stopping for him, no one's anything.
You're here already! You're next! You're next! You're next! You're next!
Just cut to credits there.
I know.
And it would have been perfect.
Would have been fantastic.
And that was the original ending.
But that's a little dark for the 50s. So they added, like he said, this bookend where the movie opens with him talking to these people, and then he retells the story. And that's where kind of like the narration comes in.
Yep.
And which at times is alright, but at times is kind of unnecessary.
Yeah, it's a little, you know, spoon feeding the audience.
Yeah.
A moment's sleep, and the girl I loved was an inhuman enemy bent on my destruction.
A lot of moments like that where it just feels like that she's just telling everybody what's going on, but we can see it for ourselves. And then the ending where it cuts back after the story is told, and they're just like, okay, yeah, we don't believe you. But then, you know, someone runs in and it's like, oh, there's this truck with these pods in it. And like, oh, we have to go stop it. And they all run out, and it says the end.
Not only is it just kind of blatantly obvious that it's like we didn't want the downer ending, but it's also like just unrealistic. Like, it's so
convenient.
So convenient, and so like they still probably would be pretty skeptical.
Yeah.
Like everybody throughout the movie has been very skeptical of all this stuff. And then this one doctor seems like he really like wants to believe the story for whatever reason, however fantastic it is. He's just like, pods?
yeah.
Did you say pods? Where did they come from?
Yeah, from Santa Mira.
Oh! Call the military.
Yeah.
It was a little ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's the one thing that hinders the movie.
But again, doesn't ruin it.
No, it doesn't, because the rest of the movie is so strong that it makes up for it. You're okay with it. Yeah. Also, this movie was a heavy influence on one of our favorites, Halloween 3.
Yes. Because
the ending of Halloween 3 is a direct, recreation basically of the original ending of Invasion.
Exactly.
Stop it!
And of course, the town of Santa Mira is the town in Halloween 3. Yeah. And even then, there's kind of like paranoia sense in Halloween 3 of like not really knowing who to trust when it comes to things. Mm-hmm. And that kind of comes from here. So there's a lot of influence in Halloween 3 from this movie, which is great because like I've seen Halloween 3 more times than I've seen this movie, just because I love Halloween 3.
I love it too.
So it's fun always revisiting this, like, oh yeah, Santa Mira and all that kind of stuff.
And for me, like, being my first time seeing this, it's kind of cool to see where the influences came from in a movie that I love. So, it just a great movie.
Yeah, it's definitely worth checking out because it's a unique premise.
Yeah.
And I know this is actually based off a book, so I'm not saying that like this movie's totally original, but yeah, either way, it's a unique premise. And it's very just interesting, especially to watch as the movie progresses and you kind of realize, oh wait, that person earlier was actually already overtaken. Like, you have that scene where they go into the basements of the like love interest's house, which is still kind of funny that they just kind of blatantly break into the house while the dude's sleeping upstairs.
Yeah.
Like nothing is wrong. And there's the cop that's just like, you know, he's just like, oh yeah, that body you said that went missing, oh yeah, we found it down the road. And he's like, oh okay, and then right around you realize that guy was overtaken at that point.
And for me, while I was watching it, the movie kind of made me paranoid.
Yeah.
I was thinking the whole time, okay, is this guy one of the... I was basically just questioning every single character in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, are they okay, no, he kissed her and he said she's not. So,
Yeah.
so she's not, I guess. But I was paranoid. And
Yeah.
I think when a movie can successfully do that, that's a success in my book.
Yeah, and especially like in the era of the 50s, you expect like if you just say the basic premise, which is kind of like, you know, aliens are taking over, you think it'd be like a cheesy like B movie, but it's not at all. It's a lot different from what you expect. Very character driven. Like I said, it just feels like an extended episode of the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
Like if you're a fan of the Twilight Zone, you'll like this movie.
Absolutely. If you're a fan of Halloween 3, you'll probably be a fan of
Yeah,
this
that
movie
too.
So,
If you're a fan of any like movies, you'll like this movie. It's just a really good movie.
you like horror,
Sci-fi, just kind of like like drama too as well.
Yeah.
Just all those elements just come together to make a really great movie.
mystery, definitely a lot of that.
Yeah.
Can't recommend this one enough.
No.
And a good one to watch around this time of year.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's the original classic Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
But that's not all we have to say about Pod People.
No, it's not.
So until next time, we'll see you guys later.